Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm back again, your host Pavarotti, bringing you information on the Idaho 4 case. And let me go ahead and do my disclaimer. This is my opinions. This is an entertainment channel. I'm not here to slander anyone. This is what I think. Okay? Getting back to what I was saying in my last video. Let's talk about the attorney in this case. Let's go into a little bit of history on this individual. Okay? Where did she grow up? Where did she go to school? What kind of organizations was she involved in? Without getting too specific, you should do that research because you'll find that her ties to the communities where all this took place is very deep and it's very old. And when she became an attorney, what kind of law did she practice? Well, she became a public defender. Okay, now let's talk about that for just a minute. A public defender, who do they represent? Do they represent people outside of the community typically? No, they represent people in that community. And what type of people are these? Well, these are people that are being prosecuted for crimes. Whether guilty or innocent, that's to be determined. Most of them probably committed those crimes. So what type of people is she meeting and building relationships with while she is a public defender for years? She left the public defender's office, went into private practice. Now, what type of people did she defend in private practice? Well, the same type of people, all in that community, all in different types of, let's say, organizations, and of course other people that aren't in organizations. I'm aware of that. But over the years, over her life, this lady knows a lot of people in the community, and she knows a lot of people in the community that are involved in crime, obviously. So how could those relationships overlap? Could she have grown up with some of the people in this criminal organization? Could she have defended them? Could she be related to them? All things are possible at this point. Then she goes out of her private practice and she takes over again with the public defender's office, but this time as the head public defender. She's in charge of the public defenders in that office. And yes, that office covers many counties there in Idaho. Okay, not just Latah County, not just Kootenai County, or ever how you pronounce it. Okay, so yes, she is over the public defenders who are handling all the cases in those counties. Now, why would she go back and take that position after she was a successful private attorney? That remains to be seen. But if she had developed relationships over the years and she had the opportunity to take over that position, why wouldn't people in power want her in that position? Because let me explain something to you. When I said she represented the mothers of the victims in some offenses that they had, I didn't go into a lot of detail. A lot of y'all thought that maybe I hadn't done my research on this. Well, let's go back to the conflict of interest hearing. During the conflict of interest hearing, everybody said, wow, if she represented family members of the victims, this would be a conflict of interest. She cannot represent Mr. Kohberger. But during the hearing, and you can go pull up the transcripts from this, it's available. During the hearing, she explained, I was not directly involved in their cases. I am the head of the public defenders. My name is on all of the letterhead, all of the anything printed out for the public defender's office. Well, that's wonderful, because not only would she have direct knowledge of any types of deals that those people were making with law enforcement to turn over evidence on an organization? She would have information on anybody in those counties that were working with that public defender's office, any of those attorneys that were planning to make deals and turn over information. She would be the one that would approve those deals. So absolutely she would have that information to pass on, wouldn't she? Also, in that hearing, that was a hearing on conflict of interest, okay? Now, I'm going to go back to a couple of the content creators that are popular in this area. In the last week, they both put out videos discussing the fact that Mr. Kohberger was going to have to sit in jail for 2 to 3 years simply awaiting his trial. Why would somebody that's innocent do that? Why would he not scream from the top of his lungs, hey, I want a different attorney. I don't want to sit here if I'm innocent, right? Now, their perspective on it was, well, maybe he's guilty. That's why he's sitting there. Well, that's one aspect of it. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, I believe what's happened here is after the atrocities were committed, there was a time period between when Mr. Kohberger was apprehended and the date of these atrocities. Well, if whoever Mr. Kohberger was working for, and you can bet there was conversations had between them, they informed Mr. Kohberger of the rules. Okay, now the job is done. You're supposed to be good at this. So if you get caught, it's on you. But if you do get caught, here are the rules. Rule number 1, don't say a word. If you do, there's going to be ramifications. Now, they know those ramifications aren't eliminating Mr. Kohberger. It'd be too hard to do that where he's at right now. So they let him know on the front end. Just as easily as you did this for us to send a message to people making deals, we can send that same message to you. We know who your family is, and they will be gone the second your mouth opens. And the reason he doesn't open his mouth is because they gave him further instructions. If you open your mouth, we will know you did. Because when you get caught, there's only one attorney that can be assigned to you in this case, and we know that. And that attorney is the one that's assigned to him now. He was prepped to know who that attorney is and who she really works for. If you open your mouth, Mr. Kohberger, we'll know it. And if you try to take a different attorney, we're going to assume you opened your mouth. Because if you take a different attorney, we're not going to know what you tell them, and we're not going to know what you're going to tell law enforcement. So we're just going to assume the worst, and we'll go through with the elimination of people that you love. And why is that plausible? Well, if you look at that motion on conflict of interest, you'll see that that's one time Mr. Kohberger had to answer the judge, because he asked him, are you okay moving forward with this lady as your attorney? And he said yes. And why did he say yes? Because he had to. Because let me explain something to you, folks. I've already mentioned in a previous video how many attorneys would love to make a name for themselves by representing Mr. Kohberger pro bono. Here's something I didn't mention. If Mr. Kohberger said no, he was not comfortable with that attorney due to that conflict of interest, the judge would have had to appoint him private counsel. Why? Because there is no other public defenders in that office is capable of handling a capital murder trial. So he would have had to not only assign him private counsel, and any private counsel that he would have assigned him would have been a pretty good private counsel, because you have to be capital murder certified to try a capital murder case. but he would also get a budget to have a much bigger team. He or she, the attorney assigned, would have a larger budget to hire a much larger team to be able to defend Mr. Kohberger. So why in the world wouldn't he do that? When we look at this last hearing and we hear his attorney ask for years of extra time just so that she can go through all of the evidence that's been sent to her because her team is not adequate to be able to go through and mount a proper defense without being able to go through this plethora of evidence because her team is small. She doesn't have the kind of budget that somebody else would have had to hire multiple investigators, not just one or two, multiple other attorneys to assist in the case. You know, there's a lot of people involved in a defense case, a proper defense case. He could have received that either pro bono or he could have received that directly funded by the state. And that's exactly what should have happened. But he didn't. He looked at him and said, no, I'll keep her because he has to. He knows that. It's already been explained to him. Now, let's take another break and we'll get into a little bit more.